Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in into today's broadcast, and we trust God that you will definitely be blessed. I tell you the truth, the topic we are going to consider today will be a powerful one. So we want to look at the issue of offense, dealing with offense against God and against man. I know some of you may be surprised at the topic whether one can be offended at God. The truth is, there are so many persons carrying baggages of offense against God. I tell you the truth. So the Bible speaking in Acts of Apostle chapter 24 verse 16, the writer said, "This I do exercise myself, that I may have a conscience that is void of offense against God and against man." So there are two people we can have offense against. You can take offense against God, or you can take offense against man for whatsoever reasons. The offense against man has been things that are there, everyday activities in our offices and so on. But there is another one that is eating deeply: offense against God. And people may not tell you that they are angry against God, but you see it in their reaction towards anything that pertains to God. They might be justified for whatsoever be the reasons in their own eyes. So you hear someone will tell you, "My mother served God very well, did everything, and when she became sick of cancer, we prayed, we begged God to please heal our mother, but God watched our mother die. And because of that, these children say, we will never serve this God who couldn't answer us in this time that we wanted him to answer us." So you see a whole lot of reasons why people are offended against God. I expected something from you, didn't answer. So in the course of this teaching, we will look at what could be the cause of these offenses, how do we deal with the offenses, and we also look at the anatomy of offense. So in today's teaching, I want to look at things concerning offense. What is offense? What does it do to someone? Bible said in Matthew 11 verse 6, Jesus said, "Blessed is he that is not offended in me." So even Jesus himself recognized the fact that one can be offended in him. And I must tell you the truth, that this issue of offense is not just for those who are just coming up in Christ, new believers. Even those of our fathers who have been there, they can tell you the truth. Some of them have questions in their heart that have not been answered. If you allow them, they could sit God down and ask, why is this thing like this? Why is my life like this? Because the person that Jesus was discussing before he made this comment was John the Baptist, the great man of God, the man who even introduced him. He was sure of his calling, the man who said, the person I want to introduce to you, I am not even worthy to loosen the rope of his sandals. And whoever that you see that the dove is upon is that man. So he was the one who introduced Jesus' ministry. But when situations of life hit him, he was captured, and he asked his disciples, go and ask him, is he the Messiah that we're expecting, or should we wait for another? Because he was already offended. He expected Jesus to do something, for something to happen, but it didn't happen. So when Jesus started speaking about him, Jesus said, at the end of the day, said, "Blessed is he that is not offended in me." What does offense do? I want to give you 8 to 9 things about offense. Then we'll proceed to how offense comes and how to deal with it. Number one thing you should note concerning offense is that offense is a snare or trap of the enemy against believers. Offense is a snare or a trap against believers. It opens the channel for the enemy to strike. That is one thing you must know about offense. The Bible tells us that he that breaks the hedge, the serpent will bite. Until the hedge is broken, the serpent will not have access to strike. So the enemy brings in offense, whether against God or against man, so that your hedge will be open. Then he will have access to strike you. So you see one thing concerning offense. Number two thing concerning offense is that a heart full of offense is a weight which prevents one's spiritual growth. Yes. And promotions in life. The Bible tells us in Hebrews 12:1, it said that, so a heart full of offense is a weight which prevents one's spiritual growth and promotion in life. Hebrews 12:1 tells us that seeing that we are encompassed with a cloud of witnesses, let's therefore put aside every weight and sin that easily besets us. He call it weight. So offense is one of the weights that prevent one's spiritual growth and promotions in life. I tell you the truth, note this: only those who are light that can take flight. Only those who are light that can take flight. If you are not light, if you are carrying baggages, weight of offenses, you can't go far. You can't even grow spiritually. I want you to notice that sometimes when you want to pray, because of the grudges, the offenses that you have in your heart, you can't access. It seems as though your prayer is not even crossing your ceiling. It seems as though your prayer is not, there is a wall before you. That is one thing the enemy wants to achieve. The third thing concerning offense is that a heart full of offense is a hindrance to accessing the presence and power of God. If you carry offense against God, you are embittered against God, you cannot access His presence or His power. If you carry offense against any man, it will be difficult for you to access God or access His power, because the enemy will always bring that as an accusation before God. I said, this one can't have access to you because of this kind of offense, because of this weight he's carrying. So you'll be struggling. Instead of you growing, you'll be going down. So please note what offense does to a Christian. Number 4 is that offense makes the power of God in our lives impotent. Yes, it prevents the flow of virtue. And virtue, I refer to the healing power. I refer to blessings. I refer to wisdom. I refer to favor. So when we have offense, the power of God in us becomes impotent. It cannot have power. It cannot have power. So you must decisively deal with any form of offense. So that was what the writer said, I exercise myself. I put my body under checks. I checkmate myself to make sure that I have a conscience that is void of offense against God and against man, so that the virtues of God can flow through me. And I want you to know this under that clean water cannot flow out of dirty spring. Clean water cannot flow out of dirty spring. Matthew chapter 7 verse 17 tells us, so every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring out good fruit, a bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bring out good fruit. So you cannot carry a baggage of offense and you still out of it spring out virtues. Those of you who are ministers can attest to this, that any day you are angry, you are embittered, you are not happy, if you go to minister, you find out that you struggle to flow, or you have quarrel even with your wife, or you have anything and you get out of that offense. When you get there, you'll be struggling to flow. But any day you are so excited, very light, even if you don't do much prayers and fasting, I tell you the truth, you see the virtue like wine press, it will come out. So you must deal with offense for your own good. A writer said something, that is Joyce Meyer. She said in one of her books, she titled it, Do Yourself a Favor and Forgive. She brought a perspective about forgiveness. So when you are forgiving, you are not doing the person that offended you a favor, you are actually doing yourself a favor. So I am still saying to you, do yourself a favor and take away offenses from your side, so that you will grow, so that you will move forward, so that you will see the hand of God manifesting in your life. Note this, until you empty yourself of offenses, you cannot be full of God, neither would you manifest Him. Did you hear what I said now? Until you empty yourself of offenses, you cannot be full of God, neither would you manifest Him. You can't have dirty water inside and still have good water inside. Definitely the dirty water will corrupt the good water. So these two things cannot exist. Number 5, an offended heart cannot hear from God nor see the truth. An offended heart cannot hear from God nor receive or see the truth. If you are someone who carries offenses, you are angry over somebody or over God, you are embittered, you cannot receive, you can't hear from God. In your state of anger and offense, you can't hear from God, you can't hear God. A heart full of anxiety can't hear God. A heart full of offenses cannot hear God. You can't even receive nor see the truth. You know, like where we quoted Matthew 11:6 said, blessed is he that is not offended in me. So when the Bible is using blessed, it's talking about to be envied. More honorable is this man. There are blessings that comes when you are not offended in him. The truth of the matter is that in your walk with God, there are issues that will come that can cause offense. It can be among your co-laborers. Paul experienced that. It can be things that you even expected God to do, but it never happened. Paul said, I pray that this thing will leave me. But instead of God answering that prayer in that way, he only said, my grace is sufficient for you. You know, when people quote that place, they forget the context upon which that statement was made. My grace is sufficient for you to be able to live through that situation. For this one is not going out. So you must learn to deal with offense. Number 6, offense blindfold the heart from seeing the good aspect of a person or even God. Offense will blindfold your heart from seeing the good aspect of a person or even God. Anybody that you take offense against, you will notice that nothing the person does makes sense to you. You will never see the good part of the person. Everything he does is wrong. Everything that God does will be wrong. Everything. If you see when someone is always condemning everything someone does, know that he's offended, because offended hearts is blinded. You can't see any good part of that person. Please, as a believer, don't carry this weight. If you must take a flight, make sure you are light. Another thing, number 7, is that offense introduces bitterness. Offense introduces bitterness, wickedness, and revenge. Offense introduces bitterness, which leads to wickedness and revenge. So if you study the Bible in 2 Samuel 13, from verse 20, the story of Absalom, Amnon, and Tamar, their sister, and how Amnon forcefully slept with their sister Tamar, who happens to be the direct sister to Absalom. And when Absalom heard that, he just kept it in his heart. The Bible said that he kept it for 2 good years. Bitterness, offense, he kept it in his heart. And then after 2 years, the Bible recorded that he determined to revenge. And Amnon was killed because of what? Offense, which brought about the bitterness, which brought about the wickedness and revenge. And you know one thing about this, people can stay with it for 10 years, 5 years. If you have not learned to deal with offense, even in marriage, even in your relationship with people, after 5 years, he did that thing to me 2 years ago, he did that thing to me 3 years ago. You see people dealing with the same issues. God did not answer me. For that, we can't serve him. My mother died, my father died, we are begging God, but God did nothing. And you see them 10 years, 20 years, they are still not serving God. They are not willing. So when you post anything concerning God on internet, you see people react. They don't want to hear anything concerning the church. They don't want to hear anything concerning God. Just watch the spring from which this water is coming from. You will notice that it is offense. It is offense. You must learn to deal with it. Another thing you have to note, number 8, is that offense deteriorates a person's health. Offense deteriorates a person's health. Offense eats and spreads like cancer. Anyone who is always bitter, someone who is always angry, it affects your physical health. It affects your physical health. So you must watch and guide against offense so that it will not affect your health. Number 19, I want you to note also is that offense is like an unclean, smelling, bitter water that flows into clean water. What does it do? Its duty, undoubtedly, is to spoil the good water. So offense is not coming to do you any good, but it's coming to destroy your good self. That is why the Bible speaking says in Proverbs 4:23, it says, keep thy heart with all diligence. In other words, say, guide your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. The Bible gave you the authority to guide your heart, because what comes into it, what comes out of it can affect your life. You know, the Bible said that what defiles a man is not the things he eats, but the things that comes out of him. Offense can defile a man. Even while you are carrying the Bible, it can defile you. So make sure that you decisively deal with offense. In our next video, I will talk about the causes of offense and how you can deal with it. How you can deal with it. You are angry against God. You don't want to hear anything concerning him. But God is calling you today to see from another perspective what offense can do to you in your life. Don't forget that it's only them that are light that can take flight. If you want to go far in life, learn to take away offenses in your life. If this video and teaching has blessed your life, I want you to like, share, comment, do the work of an evangelist by sharing this message so that it can get to as many that God wants to bless, and God will bless you. Thank you so much. I remain your host, Success.